Gina Healing and Wellness Center, Beyond Direct Primary Care, is a proud sponsor of God Made Me Laugh.
Welcome to God Make Me Laugh. My name is Dr. Ivan Tirado. I am your host, and I want to say thank you so much for 100 subscribers on YouTube. I want to say also that we are also on Spotify, so you don't have to look at my face if you don't want to. You can listen to my voice while you're working out. Great motivator, I think. In this episode, we want to talk about a miracle or a bunch of miracles together making a bigger miracle. Because here's the thing, a lot of people will try to attribute certain events to luck, to coincidence, to accidents, to powers of the universe, whatever, just to deny the miracle and the one who gave the miracle. You will see that a piece of paper is not just a piece of paper when you see the whole picture coming together for a greater purpose. So in this episode, I had a conversation with my friend Claudia, who's gonna tell us all about it.
So God made me laugh when a check showed up in my mail for $9,000 that I was not expecting.
Very nice, very nice. So Claudia, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So, married, 21 years with two great kids who are 11-year-old twin girls. And we moved here from Jamaica 23 years ago to Connecticut, and we've been living here ever since. A little bit about me is I work in insurance. My husband has been a stay-at-home dad with our kids for the last 11 years, and we love Jesus. We love everything about him. He's the one that really is our Savior or Lord, and He controls just about everything that we do in our lives. And so, if I kind of rewind a bit, we struggled with infertility for 10 years. And before having our girls, we actually went through multiple cycles of IVF. We've had miscarriages. We've actually given birth to triplets that passed away. And then now we have our two girls that we're blessed with. They're our pride and joy. We like to say they control us. They're in charge. We're just in their world. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
That is so cool. And when we met and I got your Instagram account, that part of your story got my attention. It's like you were not supposed to have kids.
No.
And look at now.
No, we weren't. And when I think about even how God made me laugh with that check, it really was what was the catalyst for us ultimately having our two girls. You heard me say before that we went through so many struggles with infertility, and we went through multiple IVF cycles. And we had tapped ourselves out emotionally, spiritually, financially, just about everything. And after we lost our sons, my husband said he received a word from the Lord that we were supposed to try one more time. And I said, of course not. We're not doing that. I went through way too much. We're not doing that. I'm never going to do this again. And he said, I heard a word from the Lord. And I said, well, God didn't speak to me. God didn't speak to me, so we're not doing this again. God didn't speak to me. Yeah. And it was really a moment of having to surrender control, a moment of having to lean into really what the Holy Spirit was saying through my husband And I still said no. I said no. And I remember when the excuse I gave him was that we didn't have any more money. And for us to go through another cycle of IVF at the time, we had gotten a quote and it was $9,000.
Oh, wow.
Our doctor said to us, we'll give you a discount and you need $9,000. And I said to my husband, well, I don't have $9,000. And a couple weeks later, I went to the mail, and I was working at a company years before, and I had left that company 6 years before. Some way, somehow, they did an audit at their company and found that there were some people that they owed money.
Oh, and just talking about God's timing. That's the thing. A lot of people will consider something like this, like, oh, there's some kind of coincidence involved. It's like, okay, that is way too exact to be a coincidence.
Way too exact. Way too exact. And, this is a company I had not worked at for years. I had not thought about them. There was no way that I could see this coming. Had it happened before that, I'm pretty sure that we would have found a way to spend it on something else, right? And the Lord would have it in his perfect timing that he would bless us in a way that really blew us away. And I sat back, and I remember my husband, he came, and when the check was on the counter, he put it on the counter, he slid it over to me, and he said to me, "The Lord said one more time." And just as Sarah laughed, I sat there and I was like, all right, God, no, you really do have a sense of humor here. All right, God, let's do this. And yeah.
No, and it is very true. I mean, God has a sense of humor, and once again, part of our theme here in our podcast is there's moments that you have to laugh at.
Yeah.
Either you laugh at the moment or when the whole thing is,
that's it.
Come together.
That's it.
Isn't that something like super impressive?
It is. And when I think about how God works, I remember years before we even had our sons that we lost. I remember years before, I have a very good friend. She came to me one day when I was really down in the dumps and we were struggling. And she said, I had a dream and the Lord told me that you were going to have 2 girls with long hair. And I said, I hope not, because I cannot do hair. I can't braid. I am not a girl mom. I don't know anything about that. And she said to me, the Lord showed me you're going to have 2 girls with long hair. And I remember when we got pregnant with our sons, I looked at her and I said, well, I guess that we're not doing the 2 girls with long hair. And then after we found out we were pregnant with twin girls, she came to me and she said to me, the Lord said 2 girls with long hair. And every time I'm doing their hair, which one of my daughters has hair all the way down into her back, every time I'm doing their hair, I'm like, all right, God, 2 girls, long hair, let's braid, let's go.
Yeah, so, that's part of the promise right there.
That's it.
Now, it will be cool if they let you know that they were coming at the same time.
I know, right? That would have been nice.
Just heads up.
Here you go, twins. But, God has just really blessed us and wowed us. And, he continues to just make us smile and laugh in it all.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of the timing. That's the beauty of when God promises something that, of course, we cannot see the big picture.
Yeah.
But he can see the big picture.
Yeah.
And in moments like that, it's like you're trying to put together things. It's like, well, things are not matching over here. But then you see all these things happening. And not only that, your story is inspiring for other people. It doesn't have to be necessarily about kids. It's like we're talking about hope. Talking about how hope can change the trajectory of the rest of your life.
Yeah. And the thing, too, is that I've realized with hope is something where you really build it up a lot of times when you see it and you live it through the lives of other people, right? And, when the Lord talks about comforting us so that we too can, comfort others. And when we share our testimony, we share our story, and we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. It's in those moments that, we go through these things, but we can truly look back and say, the devil meant it for evil, but the Lord turned it. We can say
Yeah.
this is for the good of others and for his glory. And it's in the way that we can look back and say, you know what? The Romans 15:13 kind of hope, where he's my hope and he brings us joy and peace. And so at the end of the day, I feel like hope is something that, especially in our world today,
Mhm.
if you don't have hope, what do you have? And so that is something that I continue to, even today, I sometimes look back on my own life, my own story to this point, and we're still walking through a road where I have to inspire my own self with hope, right? I have to look back and say, all right, the same God
Yeah.
that did this before, I can trust and I can believe that he's my hope today and he's going to do it again. Because if you're not coming out of a storm, you're going into one at this point. We live in a fallen, broken world. And so there are times when I look back and I say, all right, God, you made me laugh before and I need some joy right now. So here we go.
And this is something that I try to explain my students is that we are designed and wired for hope. And they looked at me like, "Oh, but I'm not religious." It's like that doesn't have to do with nothing. As humans, we are designed for hope.
Yeah.
And I asked them, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And they go, "Oh, well, tomorrow I have to study for this test, and I have these 2 classes." And like, what makes you think that you're gonna be alive tomorrow? Because in your head, in your heart, there is hope that you're gonna wake up and do these things.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if you didn't have any hope, you
Why
will
bother?
know why even bother making plans.
Yeah.
So we're designed for that, and we miss it so many times.
Yeah.
We miss the blessings that come with that hope because we're expecting a miracle in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like we miss it because we're looking somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, I think that's something that is truly innate in all of us. And the enemy would have it where he would try to kind of blind us to that. And so we don't notice what's going on. But I realize that the moment that I say, Lord, open my eyes, that I can see a tangible sign of your goodness. And it gives me hope.
Yeah.
It gives me hope for tomorrow, right? It's knowing that I have a future and a hope. Otherwise, why bother, as you said, And so it's something that we really have to walk out intentionally day by day by day. And yeah, I mean, if it's not hope, then yeah.
Now, tell us a little bit about your book.
Yeah. So, as we were walking through our struggle with infertility, one of the things the Lord impressed upon me was, as you're going through this, what are some things that you can hold on to that can remind you of, of my goodness and my faithfulness throughout your journey? And he gave me this idea of the 12 stones. And it was really from Joshua 4, when, Joshua had the 12 tribes of Judah. They collected these 12 stones as a memorial to the Israelites that the Lord had brought them over on dry land. And he had parted the rivers. And it was such that when the children asked, why is that there? You would be able to remind them of what the Lord had done. And at the end of Joshua 4, it says, so that all may know that the hand of the Lord is mighty.
Oof.
And
that's powerful.
The 12 stones stuck with me. And as I sat and I thought about these 12 stones, it ended up being really signs of his goodness and his faithfulness. And so it was stones like a stone of protection, a stone of provision, a stone of grace, a stone of joy, even a stone of suffering, as I thought about how he used suffering for our good. And so each of the chapters in the book is a stone. And it really is, there are 5 devotionals in each chapter, and it's drawing from different things the Lord has impressed upon, me and my husband throughout our journey with infertility, and in the form of a book called These Stones Remain, 60 Reflections of Finding Hope When Darkness Lingers. And so the story of the $9,000 is actually in the Stone of Provision.
There you go.
So that is a story in the Stone of Provision when we talk about how We really serve a Jehovah Jireh who
Mhm.
provides for all our needs. And so, yeah, that's the story of the book. And really, my hope and my goal with it is just that God would be glorified.
Yeah.
I, as a family, we walked through some really, really tough journeys, some tough challenges that, you know, for the regular person, I'm not sure sometimes how it didn't break us,
Mhm.
right? But at the end of the day, it's almost like me saying to the devil, no, you're not getting this. You're not getting any glory out of this. I want to make sure that the world knows the hand of the Lord that brought us through, the hand of the Lord who is mighty. And he saved us and he can save you too. And so, yeah, that's really what the book is about. These stones remain.
Very cool. That reminds me. That's a old like classic song from the Pentecostal church.
Mm.
That there's the part of the line say because the world didn't give me this joy,
Can't take it away.
can't take it away.
Come on.
I can
Come
take
on.
it away.
Can't take it away.
And it's good to go back and look at those moments where God has been so faithful.
Yeah,
And that reminder completely changes the perspective of what's coming ahead.
that's it.
It's like we went through this before. Why not now?
That's it. That's it. I like to remind myself in moments of struggle right now that I've survived 100% of my bad days. God
Mhm.
has never failed me. And he's the same God yesterday, today, and forever.
Mhm.
And so if he brought me through before, then I have no reason to doubt that
He's gonna do it
he's
again.
going to do it again.
That is so true. And the thing is that when we're being tested through this process, it's like when somebody is purifying gold.
Yeah.
Like the whole purpose of putting the gold through fire is to remove the impurities
Yeah.
and for the purifier, the guy who is purifying the gold, to see himself
That's
in
it.
it.
That's it.
And that's what God does with us. He wants to see himself in us.
That's it.
So we go through these trials for that purpose,
That's it.
to get that image of God in us.
And it's interesting you say that because one of the things that the Lord had showed me after we lost our sons was I had spent, my whole, marriage by that point with the focus of having children.
Hmm.
It was all, get married, have kids, and that was my whole focus. And when we couldn't have kids, it almost became an idol in a way. Just the idea of becoming a mother, so much so that at some points, my husband and I would look at each other and I just wanted the children more than even the marriage at times. And I looked back, and after I lost the boys, I remember there was one night where it was as if the Lord said to me, who do you want? Do you want them or do you want me? And what I realized was when God Emmanuel came and sat with me and his presence was just there after we lost our sons, I realized that the empty hole in my heart that was filled after losing our boys was really filled with him. It was filled with the hope of Jesus. And he was the one that I wanted and needed. And the miracle was never my sons or my daughters. The miracle is Jesus. And he's always been the miracle. He always will be the miracle, right? And so as you talk about, being refined and being purified, I mean, it was a hard way to go through it. But I think about how the Lord used that process to remove some idols that I had in my life and I had built up. And in it, he showed me more and more and more of himself. And so I totally agree with what you're saying there.
And actually, the Bible mentions in several points household idols, because there's a lot of stuff out there that we basically worship.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we sometimes don't realize that inside our homes,
yeah,
there's idols
yeah,
that need to be destroyed.
demolished.
They have to come under the obedience of Christ.
Yeah.
And when that happens, and God becomes first, then everything starts changing.
Everything starts changing.
Very cool. So, Claudia, if you were to tell people out there who are struggling with different situations, and like right now, it can be infertility, it can be any provision, it can be whatever it is that they're going through right now. If you were to try to lift their spirits, what would you tell them?
I would say you're not alone. I would say God is with you and God is for you. I would say He will send people your way in the form of community to really lift you up and to remind you of His goodness. I would say don't close your heart to what the Lord wants to do in you, even in this. And ultimately, I would say that God Emmanuel is with you even in the midst of your storms, and He will show up. He continues to do that for me, and I know He'll continue to do it for you as well.
So good. And I know that you're a little shy about promoting the book, but we're going to put that link in the comments so people can go get it. And the if you want people to follow you on Instagram,
Yeah.
it's right there too. So I'm so happy about this conversation. And as from the time that I saw your story, I was so inspired. It's like, wait a minute. I've seen the girls at church. They're not supposed to be
Not
there.
supposed to be here.
She's not supposed to have kids, and now
No.
you see these two like girls. I mean, they're 10, but they're as tall as me.
Yeah, they're up there. To God be all the glory. I mean,
Yeah.
He's the one that gets it all. And thanks for inviting me.
Oh, my
I
pleasure.
do like to kind of hide behind the scenes, but ultimately, I just want God to be glorified in and through it all. So,
And I know God will.
amen.
Thank you so much
Of
for being with
course.
us.
Thank you.
And I hope that this story and Claudia's story, through it, God makes you laugh.
Amen.
See you next time.